Good day, good morning, afternoon, depending where you are. It's a very sunny / cloudy day in the Netherlands today. It's not contradictory. It's possible to have both because it changes every 5 minutes. Anyway, we are going today to have a diversity of smaller topics. The reason for this is mostly a quiet day. The American people that I tend to work with usually are on vacation today because there is a holiday due to the July 4th yesterday. So there are not too many urgent things to look into, but we still need probably to get a couple of things fixed. And so we are going to work on the diversity of small problems. So the first one is this PR here, 67067. I like how this number is very nicely symmetrical. This is a PR that is fixing some security mishap. I'm not completely tempted to call it a security vulnerability. It doesn't seem to warrant a high level of scrutiny, but it's still a bug that needs to be fixed. And there is there were two iterations into this PR. The first one, and then it seemed to be straightforward, and then I created those three backport PRs as a result. And then later it appeared through the CI testing that we needed to do more changes into the PR, and so these backport PRs are now diverged from the code in this PR here. And so all of them suffer actually from the same CI failures that the second iteration of the PR here has fixed. And so the goal of the first step here is to redo those backport PRs based on the latest changes in this PR here. All right, so that is going to be our first task. Rebase 67067. Yeah, so we have now this issue number, PR number at the bottom of the screen. So this is a change that is now okay, like it's the CI is satisfied with it, and so we are going to redo this backport, but we're not going to redo it by recreating a backport PR from scratch. We're simply going to re-import the change into the release branch. So we are going to fetch the changes from the repository. The idea being that the change on master we can re-import with the new cherry pick, and we're going to do this on the same branch. And we'll want to have a clean run of the unit tests. So the regular command to create a backport PR from scratch will be via the backport command. We're not going to do that this time. We're going to update our release branch. And then, let's see. We're going to check out our backport branch we had. And because this change wasn't good, we're going to rewind it. We're going to cancel the commit we had on it. So you see there is this commit from before, and we don't like it because that doesn't actually work. And so we are going to rewind it. And so you do this by doing git reset hard head hat. Like one commit beyond the head. And now we're going to cherry pick again the PRs that we're happy about, like this. Git cherry pick. Now, I knew there was a conflict. That's okay. We are now going to address this conflict again, like the first time we had the backport PR done. Which was the file again? Server pb status.go. Why is there a generate join token in there? Let's see. Oh. Hmm? Alright. Alright. Why is it not on the master branch though? Let's see. Oh, it is there. But it shouldn't be in this here. Ah, interesting. Okay, so maybe there is another change we need to backport. Server pb status.go. All right. Move join token struct to security package. Oh, because it hasn't been backported. Okay, cool. Well, let's keep it there for now. For this, the purpose of this patch we're working on, it's not super important. Backup CCL. Backup CCL. Planning. No? Restore planning. Yep. All right, so there is here a big change, which is not in the original code, so we're just going to ignore that it exists. Let's see. All right, let's try to build this. I have a new built computer configuration today, and hopefully it is slightly faster, but I haven't stressed it yet, and it might suffer from stability issues. We'll see. All right. This seems to build fine. So that means that our changes seem to backport okay. Let's also stimulate a build for testing. How was called what? This one. This one was one that was failing in the original test. Let's hope that it passes now. Doesn't seem unhappy, so I'm mildly positive. Let's complete this commit and push it after the test has succeeded. Yep, it has succeeded. All right. So, the 21.1 backports is on the way. Let's do the next one, 20.2 backports. Same story. Then let's check out this branch, rewind it one bit, then cherry pick the thing again. little bit of conflict again. Same reason apparently. That's okay. Oh, maybe the conflict is in different file now. Here. Alright. So that is interesting because that is a direct conflict with what we wanted to see. So what is going on here? List node. So the nodes helper doesn't seem to be to exist previously. Oh, maybe it does. All right. So we're going to keep this and say return list nodes internal, and then keep this like this. All right. And here we have probably the same situation as earlier. That's a lot of this code here is not applicable. All right. Then in admin.go, apparently there is an issue, and that is list nodes internal. And that doesn't need to exist anymore. Alright, so now we have this. Let's have a sanity check. Is there any other call to the nodes RPC somewhere else? Nope, that seems to be fine. Cool. All right. Let's build this. All right, so apparently the backport is fine. So we can just commit this and update the PR, and then we'll find with this branch. Alright, that's cool. Well, probably we want to run the unit test as well. Let's do that, just for the sake of completion. But in the meantime, we're going to start the rebasing of the PR on this branch, on the 20.1 branch as well. So for folk who look at this either live or after the fact, you might have the impression that this kind of work is very boring and repetitive. Unfortunately, it's actually pretty much part of the job. And, well, this is what it is. Maybe what makes it slightly non-trivial is that there is a little bit of requirement to be careful and deliberate, so that the backports don't introduce bugs that weren't there to start with. Right, so that's again code that wasn't there to start with, so we can remove it. Oops. I'm surprised by this code, in fact. The commission status seems to be privilege requests. Let's open this in the most recent version of the code. I want to understand. Yeah, it's also here like this. Oh, and there is nodes here. Are we not on the right branch? Oh, no, we're not. Huh. The commission status. Maybe that PR is not complete after all. I actually want now to check out this branch again. We'll come back to the 20.1 branch in a second. Let's do the original fix. All right, it's fine. It's fine. Come on. There we go. All right, so I'm not going to look at this further in the old branch. We're going to continue on the backport conflict here. All right, so this one is fine. Let's go here. I suppose we have to keep this one here. More conflicts? Yes, we have more conflicts here. So this code wasn't there to start with. It's going to be the same as earlier. That's the list node internal doesn't need a node helper, so we can remove this, and then we can get this, and then do a return list nodes internal like this. Right? Is there more conflict? Yeah, it seems that we have raft debug. We're keeping this and keeping this like this. Cool. CRDB internal has maybe, yeah. So this part of the change needs to go away, I think. All right. All right. And here we do a list. Now it's internal. All right. And here's the same. All right. So that has been resolved, and the last one is this one here, and that is going to be a list nodes internal. And now we can try building this. Cannot find main module, but found gopkg.log. Okay. Right, seems to build. Let's now try to run the test. Status. Here. The status API statements. Let's wait until this finishes building. We do want to have a clean build before we run a unit test. There was a build error. List contention, events, requests, blah blah blah. My gosh. Too many errors. Maybe there's a bit more. Too many changes. Let's see. I'm going to reject those changes here. Oh. I wasn't meaning to delete this file. Third stage. And delete this. Third stage. And delete. Then here we have plenty of regular files. Why is it not building anymore? It looks like we're missing... Oh. Yeah. This file is not meant to exist. That's what it is. Okay, so now we're missing a interface. Status server. Okay, so what is the type of this field here? Let's see what it says. It's not saying anything yet. What's going on? Extended evil CDX. It's a server PB status server. Oh, that's what it is. All right. And that is auto-generated. All right, so that means that in this version, we want to add this to see. This one doesn't have any URL. Hopefully, I think we can remove. Cool. Hey, I modified a protobuf file. This needs to be regenerated. What's going on here? We are not having proper dependencies on these files. Interesting. What is the makefile rule for this? pb.go. All right, let's regenerate this now. That did not help. Interesting. Huh. Oh, I'm not in the right branch, I think. I'm in the 20.2 branch. Stupid me. Now it automatically generates it. Okay, so that works. And there's a privilege checker. Okay, so let's fix that too. Status.go. How do... All right, let's now run the unit test. Yep, that works. And we have finished our rebase. All right, so this PR is going to be fixed. This one is now ongoing CI. This one is ongoing CI. And we're pretty confident that this is now on the way. All right. All right, so now that these PRs are in, what we're going to do, we are going to rebase this other PR, which is about reporting environment variables inside the startup logging messages and inside telemetry reports to be on top of this branch here. The reason is that if we don't, then we are exposing environment variables into a payload that is not protected by admin authentication or authorization. And so, what happened with that PR here is that in the process of working on this one, the data was a bit too visible, and that was what led to implementing this one. And now that this has been done earlier last week, we can now rebase this one. So let's do that now. All right, so there is a little bit of a dance because in this place here, we have a vendor tree that is non-standard. So we're going to stash those two files. Then we're going to check out the other branch. Get out this branch. All right. Oops. Let's stand master. All right. So what's happening? I need to some module update vendor. All right. Now I can go to this branch. Now I can rebase this branch. All right, I can push this upstream. Then I can go to my other branch, which I wanted to work with. Then rebase that on top of our status check here. Then I'm going to try build this, but I'm expecting that there will be a build error. Which, yep, it has, exactly. It's coming from the buff thing, so we're going to rebase to pop this. And then make vendor rebuild to regenerate our broken vendor upstream dependency. Some issue I found actually just before the stream today. And now we can build. Okay, that seems to build. And now we're going to improve this PR a little bit. So was already a reviewable session open here. So let's reload that and look at the code a bit closer. All right. So what we're doing here is in this file, fenv.co, we are introducing a distinction between environments where we are happy to report their value as a safe value, those where we're happy to report their value as a redactable string, and those where we are happy to report they are defined, but we don't want them to be in log files because their values might be too sensitive for this purpose. So let's close all the files from the previous build so that we don't get confused. I think that's fine. How many other buffers do we still have from previous branches? Yeah. Oh, still this one. And a couple. And this one. And we're good. All right. So we want env.go from this directory. And we are going to look into this here. So we have 4 variables, the name and the value safely. So value is known to never contain sensitive. So value may contain sensitive information, but not so sensitive that users would be unhappy to see them close within markers in the files. And here, where it is, you can report them safely, but not the value in any form because too likely an unsafe payload that users would be horrified to see in a log file. Redaction markers or not. Alright, so like access keys and these kind of things. We certainly do not want to copy those values from environment variables into log files. That would be a big mistake. All right, and so here we have a couple different approaches. And in the code that is using this value, in here, in record.go, we're going to go and inspect this. Redact. We don't need this, in fact, because and there's going to be a feed that's strip markers. All right, and let's try this out now. So what we are doing in this PR is to expose environment variables from the shell that the operator uses to run CockroachDB into log files and a node report that we print out in the node status page. And so what we're going to do for testing, we're going to check that an environment has been set before the node starts up, gets reported inside the log file and inside the node report in the console. And well, the console, we don't really have unit tests for it, so it doesn't matter as much. But if it is, or if it is in the node report, we're going to see it pop up. In the web UI. But we will have a unit test for log files because that's valuable. And because we want to have a test running with the web UI, we do need to run with the UI modules. And that's why we're paying the costs of waiting for NPM to do its thing, which is something we don't usually do. All right, so it's making progress. My gosh, so slow. So slow. Why do people get the idea to run JavaScript on the server? That makes no sense to me whatsoever. All right, well, let's preliminarily update CPR resource changes and update the text. We want more visibility into the envars. We can't report all the envars. Yes, we're confident. We cannot always use value. We can't always... We have to be careful. Its value. Either because it is sensitive in the same way as host names are sensitive, or it is totally unacceptable to replicate in logs, etc. Keys. Oops. Safe name, retractable value. Safe name, no value. All right, so that's a better commit message. And still building, still building, still building. Oh my gosh, so slow. You see why we use build shorts all the time? This slow build is completely unacceptable. I don't know exactly what to say about this. It's like, I want to have a binary and it takes me 1 hour. Huh. And I start to complain and the thing starts to work again. As if the computer had ears. All right. Search there's certs. Then I open this. And it doesn't let me. Okay, I need to use a different browser, I suppose. Nope. Yes. Advanced debug. Let's see. All nodes. Not good. What's happening here? It's not doing anything. Let's reload this. Oh. Okay, this is a cluster that is missing a node. Let's recreate this cluster. All right. Let's reload this. Login. Yep. I agree with the login page being loaded. All right, let's start again. All nodes, we have N1, and we have a couple of things here, and we have environment. Look at this. Environment variables are being reported. And now let's set some secret environment variables, things that we don't want to see. So we're going to set an AWS access key, just for fun. And if we load this and we cross our fingers, we see that there is a ... here. It has been masked. So that's what we wanted. That's successful. We are going to now create a unit test for this. We do want probably to see the diagnostic report, just for fun. PKG server diagnostics. Oops. Proto, is there a service here? No, there isn't. Server pb status.proto. Diagnostics request. Status diagnostics. All right, so what we want here is to see all the details about this machine, and what we see here is that the environment variables are not reported, and that's exactly what we want. So there is a some hardware information, but the diagnostic report doesn't include the details. So it's going to be interesting though to validate what in the code makes the environment hidden. I think it has to do with the fact that all the strings inside the different data structures get erased as a string reductor. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, set value of string v.type. Yeah. So that seems to be fine. And now we're going to implement a test. And because it is a test that's a whole process, we can't do that in a unit test. And so we're going to go for a TCL test. And we might want to reuse one of the existing files to see that we are not embedding data inside our log file properly. So it's probably start test server start something, test server restart. No, we want to have a simple one that is already there. Test pretty multiple nodes, log config. Do we not have a log init command? Log call cmds. We want some. There is a test that checks the server parameters already. Where was it? Log config. The cluster node ID is reported as dot first log file. Doesn't look like it, huh? What else? Do we have something else? Quit, secure. Let's maybe do it in this file, because we do want to exploit the fact that we have a cookie here, and we probably want to verify that the AWS keys are not being stored. So yep, we are going to do this. Is there a place where we are starting the server? Yeah, we're starting the server here. And that's what we're going to do. So just for developing the tests, I need to this. I do also need a Python 2.7 executable. Yes, I do have that. And then I will want to have a first test. Short. And then expect. And then we can see what's going on here. Cannot load certificates. Interesting. So what's going on here? Localhost. Why is it not supported? Search steer. Cockroach, start single node. Oh, /search is not good. /search. Oh, I didn't save my changes. That's what it is. All right, let's start it again. It is asking me for a password. Interesting. So let's do access. Oh, it is asking me for a password. What's going on here? Oh, it's because I don't have a test user certificate. I know what this is. Cert, create user, create client. Search steer, search CA key, search CA.key, and test user. Thank you. And now I can run this test again. And the test seems to work this time. Okay, that's pretty good. I like this. Okay, cool. So the existing test works. That means we can add more tests. All right. And so here we're going to add a comment, an explanatory comment to explain. We add some arbitrary vars here to check var exposure in one of the subtests below. And it's going to be AWS access key is secret. And then term is cool term. And we have some Go environment variable from the PR earlier, which we also want to include in our tests. Something from here. Go debug. Yeah, probably don't know how to do this properly. Oh, go max procs maybe. Do I want to set go max procs? Maybe it's going to make the test slower. Let's see what go debug has to offer. Let's try to run Go with the bogus Go debug variable. Bogus var Go list. Yeah, so I can use Go debug is my cool debug var. All right, so what I'm expecting from the test is that the access key is going to be entirely hidden. The terminal is going to be included with reduction markers in log files, and this one is going to be included without reduction markers. So that's what I'm expecting. So let's first check that the server will agree to start with those envars. I think it is, right? Because it doesn't really impact the functionality. Then we're going to manually check in the the log files so that we see our environment variable. And what we see here is that a access key is there, but it has been redacted. The term is included, but with reduction markers, and go debug is included without reduction markers. And that's what we're going to test now. All right. All right, so start test. Check that the envars are properly reported in the log file. All right, and we are going to do that a bit earlier in the test, soon after it starts. And we're going to do that simply with a grep. Like this. Then they are reported in alphabetical order. And then we are reporting the term like this. And let's try this. And it failed with one of the grep commands. Oh, I included a single quote here, so it wasn't great. Yep, so that test succeeded. All right, and now that is cool. And now we can go to the end of our test where we have an authentication cookie, because that is now vars are reported in the node report. And so we are going to do like this. Status nodes 1 like this. db node.txt, and then this, and then we're going to check the same as below, except that now we will have something like the keys like this. Like this, right? I'm missing double quote here, and then we can try this. Yep, that worked. The payload here had our environment variables here, and this is a request that went through HTTP with the authentication token. That means that the viewer of that data is proving that they have admin access to the database. And then check that vars are not reported in the diagnostic report. And that is diagnostics. And then that's where we want to have an inverse grep. How do you have an inverse grep? I think it's grep minus v, right? Inverse should be minus v invert match. So let's say I have a file somewhere. Let's say go.sum. If I do grep minus v, sure this does not exist due to not get results. To not see the result on go.mod. What do I see? Oh, it succeeds. Alright, so I want a command that fails. Okay, so I'm going to do if grep aws is key in dag then echo fail. Okay, like this. I think that will be fine. Do I need this? No, I don't need this. I think that the system already runs this. Like this, yeah? Yep, that worked. All right. So we modified our cert test. We need to erase the change here, and then we have our test here. That's fine, as that means we can now update the PR. Like this, and then we push it upstream. And with this, we can edit our commit message to explain what was done here. All right. I updated the PR as discussed. Now the env vars like HTTP proxy not have where's keys get included in the node report. So rebased on top of, and we need to mention this PR to ensure the node endpoint is is authorized, is admin, restricted to admin actually. My browser is saying no right now. Endpoint is authenticated. Is in the node report. And also in debug steps. However, they are not included in diagnostic reports. Added unit tests to verify this. Off we go. So this PR is rebased, fixed. And I can say it is ready for another look. Like this. Cool. All right. So our backport to 20.1 from earlier hasn't succeeded, so we might want to do something about this. 20.2 is fine, 21.1 is fine, so I'm going to let those sit for a minute. This one, I'm not sure. Do I want to look into it? Yeah, I probably do want to look into it. Otherwise, I will feel bad that there's still work remaining to be done later. So let's look at what CI says about it. It's probably going to tell me that there was some test files that needs to be modified. Yeah, like nothing of it builds. And that means that there is a test file that uses a feature that has been renamed. And so we need to ensure the test code builds properly. So let's do this. Oh, we forgot to commit our changes. That's a bummer. Huh. All right. I know why this was broken, so let's try CI again. All right. So that was simple. Cool. All right. So hopefully this will go away and this one will be fine. Cool. All right. So 1 PR down. 2 PR down. This one is a review I will do later. This one, do I want to do this now? Or maybe do I want to do this later? When we run make build short, this disables the entire HTTP API server. This makes it impossible to use the HTTP APIs or debug endpoints on the binary run with make build short. Yeah, I think that is really worth to be looked into a little bit. Let's have a look into this. I will say today working on a diversity of small issues is much easier on my brain than trying a big project during a live stream. So let's update the link to the PR or the issue we are working on at the bottom of the screen. And we're going to go to the master branch. And we are going to try and solve this issue. So the issue is the following. So we want to enable the HTTP endpoint even when the CockroachDB executable file does not support the UI assets, like the front-end application. So it's okay if the front-end application doesn't work, but we shouldn't restrict access to the debug endpoints. So I'm going to illustrate what I'm meaning here. So if I do make build short, yes, gmake build short, and then I'm going to run the binary, we're going to see what happens with the access. Start single node like this, and I want to start my Chrome browser again because Firefox is too strict about this. And then, oh, it says valid authentication. Oh, well, maybe that's bogus. Look at this. I do have an HTTP endpoint. Oh. Oh, I can't access the login page. But I do have an HTTP endpoint. Oh my gosh, this might be a bogus issue and we might be able to close it without to do any work. So that's the best kind of issue. The no work issues. Oh, that is a great. Let's session login root like this. And then I can say curl this. Localhost 8080 status diagnostics1. Ooh, it works. Nodes. Oh, that's even better. Well, that is a no work issue. Excellent. Checked manually. The HTTP service is in fact available. Only already. There is no work to do here. That's so convenient. A no work issue. Cool. All right. So there is a big backlog in this project, but we can look into it later. All right. So actually now that's pretty good because that means that all the kind of bug or issues, things that were kind of problematic until now, we have accomplished. Like this is like moving forward. And so what I was proposing to do today is to do refactors. And one refactor that I'm really keen on doing is to take the contents of the pkg CLI directory in CockroachDB, which contains so many files of different kinds, and bit by bit chip at it to move these contents into subdirectories with different bits of functionality. And so I would suggest to try and do something like this today. And so one structure I would like to suggest is that there will be a CLI/SQL directory. And then in there, we are going to have our SQL interactive shell. And separately from the CLI/SQL, we will have a SQL client. Well, maybe that's better names. CLI/SQL mkdir CLI SQL shell, and then CLI SQL client. And now we can create some documentation to explain what those packages are about. doc.go. All right, let's take another license file to get some example like this. And then we add the documentation package. CLI/SQL client contains code common to all CLI commands that establish SQL connections, including but not exclusively the SQL interactive shell. It also includes commands like cockroach. It also supports. All right, and then we are going to create another CLI/SQL shell doc.go. Oh, it's already here. CLI/SQL shell as code that powers the interactive SQL shell. CockroachDB's. And a node that the common code that is shared with other CLI commands that are not interactive SQL shells, but establish a SQL connection to a server should... What am I doing? Oh, yes, I forgot to rename this package. Should be placed in package CLI SQL client instead. Cool. So these are our new files. So let's create a branch. Why it's happening with my keyboard? 705. And we are going to create those packages. All right, and then see what are all these files and what can we move. One thing we can move is the code that formats tables and values to the screen into the client package, because this functionality here is in fact used by all the other commands that use SQL. So we know for a fact that they belong to the client package. We're going to probably start with SQL format value as the first starting point, because I think this is very well self-contained and doesn't use functionality from other packages. Yep. Let's escape this. And now we are going to add some redirects, because of course they're not anymore in the right package. So this is now in SQL client. Then there are some files here. Then it's going to be exported. Formats a value retrieved by a SQL driver into a string suitable for displaying to the user. This one doesn't need to be exported because it's not used anywhere. And then we have some private variables, and that is fine. And if I save this file, oh, I also need to update the test SQL client test, and then it's going to be CLI dot like this, and I think this is going to work. Oh. Test.go. Like this. And we are going to need to inject this into a file, a new file that we're going to create. Dependency injection to break the circular dependency. CLI.format file is format file. Cool. And then we are going to check here and replace. Is there still one? Nope, I think this is fine. This one remains here. And now we can test our example again, and that should build. Yeah. Better. Yes. Okay, that's fair. So there is a main that goes as missing here. We need to main test. CLI. Yep, let's do this. Yes. We have successfully moved some source code from a big package to a smaller package. So let's now do all this. Renamed, that's exactly what we wanted. Let's, for the sake of completeness, verify that the CLI tests still work. I think they do. Oh, they won't, because they need the dependency injection to be completed. And that is like this. Oh, that's not great. Shit, I made a boo-boo here. I made a boo-boo. I think we can't do... So CLI... This is going to fail. So we're expecting this to fail. So the problem is that the dependency injection has not been completed in the main situation. We do need the package to import. So cmd cockroach. So CLI should be able to depend on CLI SQL client, but not the other way around. Oh, okay, so actually we made a little mistake. So we don't want we want the dependency injection to work the other way around. We want the CLI test code. Yeah, so we can see on the right side of the screen that some test is very unhappy. I'm expecting some panic that the format file is not defined properly. All right, so... Oh, but we'll be fine. Yeah, we'll be fine about this. So this goes away. And then we are going to do this like this. SQL client dot. Like this. Like this. Like this. And like this. Oops. Yes. I think this will build. No, there is an import cycle. So what's going on here? Binding. Oh yeah, we don't need this. We don't actually need this anymore. And so we are going to remove this file here. Yeah, better. All right, this goes. And this still builds. Cool. Yes, it does. And then we can try this. Demo. And that builds. Cool. Success has been achieved. Kill this file. Move value formatting code to CLI SQL client. Cool. All right. All right, a little bit more. We are going to do the same with format table. This one is a little bit more interesting because it has multiple things that probably need to be exported. And so we'll need to create a constructor. Then there will be other things happening. And then we are going to redirect a lot of calls. But that's okay. That is completely okay. So let's try this. And after we succeed in this, I think we are going to call it a day because it's been more than 2 hours. And for a refactor, it is good for live stream. All right. Cool. All right, so the files have been moved. And then here we are going to SQL client. Then here, SQL client test. So it's going to be CLI dot. And then we're going to have a table display format. Oh. Table display format. Table display format. Where is this type defined? I think that we need to extract the code for the table display format into a separate file that is in flag utils. All right. Display format is here. We're not going to call this flags util. It's table display format dot go like this. Let's. Oops, sorry about that. Come on, like this, like this. SQL client, and that's going to be exported. Format with which SQL tabular results should be displayed. Knowing constants identifies as supported. All right. Like this. All right. And now we have a file here that supports table display formats. All right. There is... now we need to replace those things here. Oops. Table display to table display with capitals. Let's go. But the CLI-ctx.table is going to remain CLI-ctx.table in small letters, because CLI-ctx is a global variable from CLI package, and we can't use this in this package. And so we will need to make all this a bit configurable to create some encapsulation. That's okay. So format test is client test. I think this is going to be CLI. And that is, yes, that's the right place. And that's going to be table display last format. Okay. And that file is probably okay. We'll need to generate this. This file has the right file, yep. Instead of saying this implements the pflag.value interfaces, you can say pflag.value is table display format of nil. Pflag is a package coming from here, which we are going to import like this. And then we can ask this test why it fails by trying to build it, and it's going to tell us, oh, I'm sad. SQL rows. Okay, so maybe we need to move more stuff. That's okay. So SQL rows is from SQL util. So SQL util probably needs to move too. Let's do this. Like this. It's going to be CLI like this, CLI like this. Then there will be this function called setCLI defaults for tests. We are going to redirect this probably with an export. Let's continue throughout this code to see if we have more things to change. Yes, we do. I think this is fine. It says import cycle not allowed. That's okay. We know why. It's because in this file here, we don't need this anymore because we're now in the same file. Access. And then there are plenty of errors. That's okay. All right, so there's an ACDR being exposed that we need to convert from the CLI package. So that's going to be dependency injected. I think. All right. Not this one. Like this. And where is this used in this package? There is a place in this file where the SCDR object is being redirected, like the code for this is redirected to another file. I think this one here, or like the thing is being here, zip test SCDR. Yes, that's what we probably are going to do. Test utils is here. All right. This. And then we can go back to here and try to build this again. And now we don't have an error on SCDR anymore. Okay, that's great. Now we can try to deal with CLI output error. Yeah. Oops. Error.go. Oh, it's in this file here. Okay, we want a separate package for this. All right. Provides common functions to display program errors to the user. All right. .go error test .go to CLI error. And then it's going to be CLI error. And then CLI error test. And then we will have some kind of output error like this. Format location, I don't know what that is. Oh, maybe we don't need to use the underscore test package here. All right, maybe let me restrict this. We're going to do output error like this, because that's the command file, and that's not going to be underscore test because it doesn't need to. And here we are going to export this with output error like this. And now we have maybe decorate gRPC error. That doesn't need to go to let's do this. Export this. Wrapper for error object that displays the details of the error when the error is formatted. And we are actually going to keep a error.go in the CLI package. Yeah, it tells me it doesn't exist anymore, but that's not true. It will exist again, because I want it to continue to exist. Just as CLI output error doesn't exist anymore. But we're going to keep maybe decorate gRPC error in here, because error. And then we are going to create wraps into another error object. So I'm going to unexport it again. I don't know what I want. Sometimes it's okay. Just that we want the constructor to be exported. Alright, and so rf error, and that's going to be CLI error.new formatted true, false. Oh. Oh. Okay. Okay. That's great. So we are good with this one here. Then let's see, test output error, test format location, test error reporting. So those error reporting seems to be separately. Oh, we want a CLI error also to be exported. So where is CLI error defined? In CLI.go. So this one like this. So that one remains there. And then we said that the gRPC code here does not remain in this package. So maybe shout. Where's maybe shout? It's here, so I'm not going to keep that for now. Here, like this. So output error is exported. First test. I have output error, and now I need to create a new CLI error. Here. Then it's going to be 2021. Here. cli.go CLI error is a new type, which is going to go here. Yeah. Okay. It's going to complain to me that the type is stuttering because I have a CLI error object inside the CLI error. Oh well, it's going to be error. Is an error object which when propagated through the CLI main function causes the process to exit with a given exit code. Let's do this like this. Cool. Right. So it's going to be CLI error now dot output error, and that is going to be a CLI error dot error like this, and get exit code like this. And we'll have a couple of other places where this is used, I think. Here. Okay. Access. Okay. And here we have a client. Like this. I don't think we have clear being used anymore. Oh, do we? Here. Like this. A bit more. We have one here, and we have here some things here. Where is this being set, in fact? I wonder. Maybe in start.go, huh? It's here. I see. Interesting. We're not using the severity field anywhere else, apparently, so that's interesting. Nope. All right. And so we want to see what log severity 0 is unknown. Interesting. I think severity .unknown would work. Yep. All right. I don't think we have any clear error remaining. In the error test file, yeah. Okay. So here we can replace CLI error by error. Okay, and then we have a check and maybe shout too. Boom, 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 boom. Test error reporting. So okay, that test belongs in fact to this file here. And this logger belongs here too. Like this, I believe. There is no logger here, yes. So this goes here. And now I can test this package. Exit code, exit code. And that's a cause. Yes, now this package passes its tests. And we can build CockroachDB. Oh yeah. This goes to CLI. All right, that's good. Oh, clear. Okay. So util in this here that is now CLI error.output error. Yep. And now this one here will only complain because CLI syntax and SQL syntax not being defined. That is great. All right. So what's happening here is that we have this global configuration variable in a file called context.go here that has all the configuration variables for these the SQL features in the SQL client package, the new one we're creating. But it's a global variable and it's not exported. And we are not going to export a global variable. That is a bad style. And so the way we need to do this is to operate into two steps. One step is to create an equivalent of this inside the CLI SQL client package we just created with the same configuration variables as a starting point, as a global variable as well. It's not great, but this way we are not going to modify the surrounding code as much. Then we are going to ensure that the CLI package and the new package are synchronized with that global variable state. Then we are going to verify all the tests pass with this new structure. And once we have achieved this, we're going to remove the global variable and pass the configuration by argument as a subsequent commit into the package. So that's like additional steps or refactoring steps. That being said, it's going to take a little bit more than 20 minutes. And I think now we have exceeded the a good time for a stream. And so I suggest we continue this in the next stream instead. And either I will be doing a little bit of polishing of this off stream, or we are going to continue this one on the next stream. We'll see. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here and sharing this time together. And I hope that you have a good Monday or a good holiday if you're on holiday. And we will see each other again next week. Thank you all, and have a great week.